Good evening. I would like to call this regular meeting for the Board of Selectmen to order on February 27th at 7:01. And would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. May I have a motion to go into executive session? Mike moves. Sarah seconds. All in favor? Okay. So we'll come and find you.
What's this?
We'll find you.
Oh, so should I go outside?
You can just wait here. You can stay here. Oh, okay. Can I have a motion to return to regular session? Sarah moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Terrific. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the first Selectmen's report. On Friday, February 10th, Senator Chris Murphy visited to discuss how things are going in Darien. He was aware of the major developments in downtown and in Norotan Heights, and I took the opportunity to talk about a project that has been long in the works but needs financial support from the state. That project is a new train station over at Norotan Heights. With the growth in Norotan Heights area, a proper train station is an appropriate ask. And he mentioned that the state has funds available to aid in projects that encourage mass transit and alleviate congestions on the highways, and so we will be continuing that discussion. Metro North plans to close the New Haven branch line from Stamford to New Canaan this summer, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And so the 4 stations along that route will be closed, and we can expect additional traffic at our parking lots. SRF Consulting Group has been hired by WestCog to conduct a noise abatement feasibility study of the 11 railroad crossings along that New Canaan branch. A diagnostic meeting is being scheduled for late March with officials, and noise sampling will be taking place at that site visit. The consulting group has begun to collect information from the previous 3 years for the existing conditions at the 11 crossings, including updated traffic, crash data, pedestrian, school bus, and train counts, and any current or planned future improvements near the crossing. So if you're interested in following this study, you can go onto the website. It's westcog.org, transportation, etc., so just call me. And you can follow along, or just reach out to me if you're interested in staying involved in this. Like Marcy, we put your name in.
Thank you.
They're keeping a spreadsheet, and when the public hearing is scheduled, they'll be letting people know. Many residents have expressed their dismay at the recent clear cutting of trees by utility companies throughout the states, and in particular Eversource in Darien. The clear cutting is taking place along the 18 miles of track on the New Haven line. 3.5 miles of that is in Darien. In some areas, that has created potential safety concerns, which I will be addressing directly with Metro North representatives. The town has no legal power to curtail the work given that the land is not town-owned, but we will continue to insist on consideration for replanting plans. There is a bill presently before the Environment Committee, SB 122 is the name of the bill. And it's titled An Act Concerning the Replanting of Trees in Public Areas Cleared by Utility Companies. So our website has a link to this bill, and concerned citizens should reach out to their state representatives and let them know how they feel about this. You can still submit testimony. There is an example of a letter that you could take a look at if you are interested in going that way. But I highly encourage people to reach out if you're concerned about this, as I am. As you walked in, I'm sure you saw the Valentines all along the hallway. So Hindley School 3rd graders worked with the kindergartners and the 1st graders and made these adorable Valentines, and they were expressing their appreciation for town employees, so we thought we would put them up and take some pictures and send them back. They also made cards for the police department, the library, Post 53, the 3 fire departments, and the senior center. So they brought a lot of joy to all kinds of people on Valentine's Day. It was really, really sweet. The swap shop is closed as of today, the 27th, and it will be closed until April 3rd, yes, for maintenance. So no donations or collections or anything like that will be allowed there during this period, but the Darien Thrift Shop in town is always available to accept the smaller donated items that you want to share with your fellow citizens. And I'd like to thank my fellow selectmen for joining me in mini golf at the library on January 10th, and I want to congratulate Mike and Sarah on their holes in one. Actually, Sarah had 2 holes in one. She's ace mini golfer, and it was really terrific, and a thank you to the library for putting that on. That's my report.
Oh, did you have a hole in one?
I
You did too.
I did have a hole in one, yes. I forgot about that. Marcy did not have a hole in one. She was there.
I'm a long gamer.
Yes, she, but she was a trooper anyhow. Kate?
So, we're supposed to get snow later tonight, and I've been blaming it on the fact that we have a new highway superintendent. We're breaking him in. I think when John Zerkowski started his first day of work, we had snow, so.
All right.
Dan Obuchowski, who's been with us for quite some time, was recently promoted to highway superintendent, so we think that's pretty great. We have engaged Civic Plus to do our website upgrade, so we will be starting to work on that. Looking forward to getting that done. One of the things that came out of our study on COVID, we called it a mid-action report, was we have a lot of paper processes still that do hamper our ability to work remotely some, so we're starting to look at those processes and see what we can do to reduce paper. And we will also be looking at reallocating some of the ARPA funds soon as we get pricing on the various public works projects. We'll be coming back to the ARPA committee with a recommendation for some reallocations.
Okay.
And if you notice that in the hall, the Valentines are kind of a little more haphazard. At this end of the hall, they're very neatly engineered as they were hung.
Can't fight genetics.
Yeah, just many talents at that end of the hall. Okay. Next on the agenda is liaison reports. Mike?
Yes, on February 8th, the Blight Commission met, and we had input from some members from the RTM Rules Committee as we continued discussion of creating a amendment to the Blight statute to include commercial properties. It was a productive meeting, and those talks will continue in concert with the RTM and with Town Council in terms of language and additional process. With regard to the properties, we were pleased that the Hollow Tree Ridge Road property down by the train station was recently raised as per agreement, so that is no longer a dangerous or blighted condition. And overall, the committee is advancing well. I think over the last 2 years, we've had 4 properties come off of it. So now we're down to 8 properties on it, which is good progress, and we continue to work with homeowners wherever we can to get these conditions corrected. And we meet next, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday.
Okay. Your committee's full, right?
It is, yes, it is full.
Okay. So?
So one of my committees is not full. Just thought I'd throw that out there. The Hindley Homes and Royal Building Committee does need new members, so please join us. The homeschool plan is now approved by P&Z and can be advanced through the permitting process, which is great. The committee approved the final plans and the project manuals prepared for bidding for the Phase 1 electrical procurement for Hindley Homes and Royal at our last meeting. Our next meeting is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. virtually. And as far as Thriving Youth goes, the teens that were selected to represent the youth from the Darien Youth Conversation will be presenting their summary of what they want adults to know at March 7th at Darien Library. It will include a panel of experts who specialize in children and adolescents. Rebecca Campbell, who works with Sasko River Center. Dr. Tara Levinson is a practice in Westport, and Tracy Masala, who works with Silver Hill. You can register at the Community Fund site.
Thanks, Sarah. John?
So the IT committee did not end up meeting in February. We had quite a number of members that for work reasons and other reasons simply couldn't come, and so I canceled that meeting. But one thing we are going to do is have our final meeting on Thursday, March 16th. And the reason is that I think we've gotten to a point where a lot of our recommendations are close to final form. We'll have a discussion on the 16th about the IT survey results, which was mainly town employees and elected officials coming up with ideas for improvements. A big part of that is going to be just training as well as awareness, because I think that the more, as I said in one of our previous meetings, the more town employees are aware of what other departments are doing, the more apt they will be to adapt or adopt sort of the best software or the best sort of IT practice. And so I think that's going to be a big part of it. And we're going to have still one or two ideas around sort of improving the citizen experience that I expect to report on the 16th. But the idea at that meeting will be to take the final committee recommendations and talk to others, including this board, and I'll give you a final update, as well as others, and sort of hand it off to town staff for implementation of those ideas. The committee will just adjourn CNADA, right? So no date for reconvening. We certainly could get together again should a need arise, just like the ARPA committee. So there you go.
Okay. Is the ARPA committee getting back? Do you have
Well,
a date?
you
don't have a
mentioned talking about maybe some reallocation. Maybe I can talk about it and decide kind of the best way to address that. Maybe whether we need committee's input or not. So.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Yep.
Mars?
Good. Mental Health Task Force met, their programs committee met on Valentine's Day, and we are past the postvention period, so now we are into resiliency. So the programs committee will be putting together a series of different resiliency programs that are really designed to help identify, help communicate, and help give resources to those who are struggling with mental health issues. Our first program is set to be on May 4th, which will be a compilation of very many different mental health providers throughout the region, hoping to be able to provide that both Zoom and in person, but the majority of that focus will be on identification and the right questions for parents to ask their children to be able to identify them as someone who's struggling with mental health. So as soon as that comes out, I know it's going to be a definite hot topic in town. I know a lot of parents have been asking for this, and we are rolling this program out. I will give all the details as soon as I get a time slot and a location for that. The Oxbridge Building Committee met last week, or 2 weeks ago, and things are going great over there. I don't know if anybody has gone over to Oxbridge in a while, but all of a sudden this beautiful formation of a building has happened. Things are on task and on budget as planned, which is fantastic. We have a lot of really wonderful people working on this project. Completion of the second phase, which is the accessory building, is set to be the end of May, but the kids will not be able to go into it until the beginning of September when they head back to school, because the parking lots will not be done yet. So we'll wait until then. Grand opening should be everybody returning to school next year, and things to be going well there. Right now, the hot topic of conversation was cell phone service. Being able to make sure that all the teachers and staff and anybody who's going to be using the buildings, I mean, you don't usually have second graders that are having cell phones, but there are a lot of administrators and parents who may want that access. So we're trying to figure out a great solution to make sure that inside of the building they have access to that for safety and for ease of use. So that's that.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And that's it.
Kate, any public comment?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss and take action on a request to increase the appropriation and bonding authorization for the Darien High School track. And Dr. Adley?
I think you
You know,
sent me
if you do the podium, it's just easier for Channel 79.
For Selectmen, members of the board, thank you. And I could say it's a very exciting time around town, particularly on these new buildings and opportunities for kids and staff. So thank you for all of your work behind the scenes. Here tonight, this request has come through the Board of Education and subsequently through the Board of Finance. There was a capital project in FY23 capital budget for $450,000 to replace the track with a similar track structure. Back then there was about 7 contractors that came for the process and the bidding process, and we received no bids. At that point we went out to National Cooperative Alliance that we're permitted to do, and they came back with an additional about $138,000 to do the work that we had budgeted for $450,000. After that, there was a recommendation to actually improve the track to what we call a sandwich system. So that increased by another $227,000 approximately. That brings the total expenditure to about $815,000. The sandwich system has been put in Greenwich, New Canaan, Weston, Norwalk by the company. I think it's a tennis company. It is the Cape and Island Tennis Company, so they'll be doing the installation. They've done similar installations. So essentially, it's an improvement to the track, a significant improvement with 2 layers that will give it additional life and a better surface. So the total appropriation comes up to over $800,000. So that's the nature of the request.
Dr. Adley, does this come with any kind of a warranty? This
So
new?
I actually checked to see where this question came up actually before, and we don't have the specific request back from that. It's meant to, at least 5 years, right? The actual product itself is meant to last from 20 to 25, but we haven't received back the actual confirmation from the company. They're going to give it to us in writing, but we haven't received that, and I checked before I actually came here this evening, so it still hasn't been received.
Dr. Adley, when was the track last replaced? I can't remember.
I think back in 2005, whenever this
Was it really?
was actually built, I think. But it hasn't, up until now.
We've been talking about it for a while.
It's only been
Yeah.
improvements made along the way type
Yeah.
thing, and repairs. It also will do the repairs, concrete repairs around the border of the track also where that has deteriorated.
I'd like to support this. One of the things I see is so many people who use this, not only the student athletes, but I also see many members of the community that are using that track. They go out and they run, and it's a community resource, as are for other high schools in different towns. But I think it is an asset for this town.
I actually appreciate the Board of Finance and actually the Board of Selectmen putting it on their agenda as quickly as you have, because it lets us get into the queue in time to actually get it done over the summer.
And this replaces, I'm sorry for being ignorant, so there's one track, there's no other surfaces like that could also be upgraded or repaired or replaced?
It goes around the jumping track and so on, so the other parts that are there associated with the track, but it's confined, John,
That's
for
it.
the most part.
Okay, all right, got it, thanks.
So Dr. Adley, I have 2 more questions. One is, this was signed in November, so these numbers are still good?
These numbers are good now, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then it says it does not include drain repairs, fence repairs, or landing pit repairs. Are those likely? Why is that not included in this but mentioned?
Well, it's the actual track itself is the actual repair, and the concrete around the edges is the additional repair that's being done. Any other repairs are at our expense. They seem to be routine based on our facilities manager and what we actually do as a normal part of the practice, so we don't see that as necessary.
Okay.
Because that's the landing pit for the high jump.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay.
Well, as a former track star, just kidding.
You can cut the
I did
ribbon.
run the 440, but I was not a star by any means. But anyhow, thank you for
Thank you very much. Thank you.
joining us. And if there are no further questions, may I have a motion to request, to approve a request to increase the appropriation and bonding authorization for the Darien High School track to $817,970 and to recommend the same to the RTM. Mike moves, John seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. Terrific.
Thank you, folks. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you,
night.
Dr.
Thank
Thank you
Radley.
about going into the blizzard.
Be safe.
Drive carefully.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is to discuss and take action on a request to authorize the first selectman to accept a sewer easement. And are we flipping a coin? Who's up? Darren? Ed? Okay.
Good evening, Darren Ostafine, Assistant Director of Public Works. We're here to ask for authorization for the first selectman to enter into a sanitary sewer easement agreement on the old Procaccini property, which is now known as Kensett Lane, Kensett Development, up on Wakemore, off of Hoyt Street in the northwestern part of the town. The easement has been, it's first of all part of a developer's agreement which spells out the responsibility of all the parties. Secondly, it's been approved by the Darien Sewer Commission as well as Town Council. So it's been vetted, it's a part of the agreement, it's part of the requirements of the project for the town to take over the sewer, which has been completed since about 2017. There's 2 phases to the project. The initial project was started around 2012. The developer was able to acquire an additional piece of property and extend their development, which required another easement on another piece of property. But both of those are governed by a developer's agreement, approved by the Sewer Commission, approved by the Town Council. We're not asking for money. It's just authorization for the first selectman to enter into this easement agreement per the Darien Code of Ordinance. If there's any questions, happy to answer.
Has this come up a lot before where we have these types of transfers or easement approvals, and is this discussion, to use the word perfunctory, in other words, this is a standard process, this always happens this way, it's not a big deal, or is there a real decision to make here?
Yeah, not really a real decision to make. I think it's just because it's written in the Code of Ordinance, the Sewer Commission takes care of all sewer business. However, in your package of Section 2-32 of the Darien Code of Ordinance, that empowers the Board of Selectmen to accept an easement without compensation for stormwater and public sanitary sewer. So technically, you folks are designated Water Pollution Control Authority. Code of Ordinance specific about not usurping any authority of the Darien Sewer Commission as related to sewers. But the way everything is written, we still have to come to you to ask permission for you to, God bless you, to accept the sewer easement, because I think it's considered a gift.
Does the developers agreement have all of the indemnification agreements that would cross between the parties? I mean, because it's going to be...
Yeah, everything is spelled out in the developer's agreement,
Okay.
what everybody's responsibility is. For example, when the project was going on, we, the town, the Sewer Commission, the Department of Public Works, the Sewer Department, we all required that there would be full-time inspection, for example. The developer's agreement very clearly spells out that the developer has to reimburse us for those expenses. So that's one, for instance. So,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
How is the flooding that has been significant at times up by Kensett going to affect the sewer system?
It should. That has nothing to do with the Darien Sewer Commission.
So this is not this is only sanitary sewer?
It had
Oh.
nothing to do with the sewer. Kensett, you're talking about the flooding on Kensett itself? Okay, Wakemore is private. To us, it's a driveway. Hoyt Street is a state road.
Right.
To us, that's like I-95. We won't do anything
Right.
there. And the developer was required to upgrade our Hoyt Street pump station because
Okay,
the intensification of that area
yeah,
resulted in a need for increased capacity.
right.
They took care of that, they put a new force main in.
Okay.
But to your question,
We're not adding storm sewers?
not related at all.
Okay,
This is when you flush the toilet,
Just
take a
same for
shower,
sewer,
it
got it.
goes. Yeah.
got it, thanks.
So Darren, this is a forever contract, correct? A forever easement, no expiration. It lasts forever.
The easement,
Right.
yes,
Okay,
that is correct. Once we do this, it's our sewer forever, and that was always the intent going into it.
okay. Okay, any other questions for Darren? No? All right, thanks Darren, thanks Ed.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to authorize the first selectman to accept this sewer easement? John moves, Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck with the snow. Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss and take action on a request to increase the dollar amount for the acceptance of gifts to the town of Darien as detailed in section 233 of the town code. And Kate?
So currently, under the town code, the Board of Selectmen can accept gifts with a value of up to $10,000. If it's just a goods or services, you get to accept the gift up to $10,000. It doesn't have to go anywhere else. If it's cash, it's always going to have to go to the Board of Finance. Anything over $10,000 cash or goods has to be accepted by the RTM as well. The part of the code that authorizes you to accept those gifts also allows you to increase periodically the dollar amount that you can accept, but no more than 25% in any one year. It has not been increased in as long as I've been here. And it's not that we've, at least in the last couple of years, we haven't had any gifts that are in that, $2,500 area. But I do recommend that you start increasing it with an eye to getting it up closer to 15 or, in a few years, get it up to $20,000 because we have had gifts in that range where it seemed inefficient to have to go through all the process to go to the RTM.
Such as Parks and Rec?
Pardon?
Such as the Parks and Rec, some of the donations towards.
Yeah, some of those, yeah. Because this value also extends to those commissions that are allowed to accept gifts
Right.
as well.
So I support this. My only kind of thinking is that I think gifts should be recognized. And so I would want to make sure that we show our appreciation. It's, this is one way that we do it, so we'll have to figure out something else.
Well, you still have to vote to accept the gift. This board would still have to meet publicly and accept the gift.
Oh, okay.
This-
It just doesn't have to go beyond
It just
this
doesn't
board.
have to go
Right.
beyond you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other questions? And Kate, would you recommend then that every year we increase it?
I think we should look at it again next year, yeah,
Okay.
and increase it and, with eye of getting it up there. It would take you, well, at least, to next year to get it to 15,000. But I think you should definitely, over the next several years. And the timing is, you have to, when you vote to do this, we have to notify the Board of Finance within 10 days. And then we have to notify the RTM for the annual budget meeting. So that's why I picked this timing. No sense in doing it in, September and waiting 9 months.
Right. Well, we have the beauty of compounding too, to get that number going, right? So, okay, any other questions for Kate?
No.
No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve a request to increase the dollar amount for the acceptance of gifts to the town to $12,500 as permitted by section 233 of the town code? Marcy moves. Mike seconds. All in favor?
Who seconded?
Okay.
Who was the second?
Mike.
Mike, thank you.
like to keep everybody on their toes. Okay, next item on the agenda is transfers.
Right.
Discuss and take action on a request for a transfer of $1,500 for a Harbor Channel survey. Kate?
I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about this, but I wasn't going to make somebody from the commission come out for this. Every 3 years or so, we participate in a survey with, I think it's
Yes.
the boat club and the yacht club.
Mhm.
So the cost of the survey is $4,500. Our share would be $1,500. It was not budgeted, so we're asking for a transfer into the Board of Selectmen's professional services account, and hopefully in 2026 we will budget for it in advance. Because I think that's the next time we would do it.
Well, we talked about this a little bit because we were interviewing coastal advisory people today, and so this survey is something that has typically been done every 3 years, but as I mentioned earlier, the chair is looking at if we should extend that a little bit. It wasn't done, it wasn't done in 19, I guess it should have been done. It was 21 was up, and because of COVID, it wasn't done. But that's just something to think about. And I'm hoping that this survey will help the Park and Rec Commission when they're looking at the pear tree work. So, any other questions, discussions? It's okay? It's okay? Okay, so may I have a motion to approve a request for a transfer of $1,500 for Harbor Channel survey? Sarah moves. Marcy seconds. All in favor? Terrific. Okay, next item on the agenda is appointments for the Coastal Waters Advisory Commission. And this evening, we had the pleasure of interviewing 5 of our residents for this. The spirit of volunteerism in Darien is very strong. It was just really, really terrific to be in the position where we had more candidates than we had positions available. So I encourage people that if you're interested in working on various commissions, follow the website and keep an eye and let us know when something appeals to you. So this evening, do we have any discussion?
We're lucky to have 5 qualified people raise their hands.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep, so once again, the appointments are there's a little bit of a typo in here. These appointments expire on December 31st of 2023. So a little adjustment to the agenda there. And I would like to have a motion to appoint the following 3 people to the Advisory Commission for Coastal Waters for terms expiring on 12/31/23. Sam Bridges, Rob Roberto, and Kevin Marks. Do I have Sarah moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Unanimous. Again, thank you everybody for stepping forward. We really, really appreciate your interest. Next item on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes for the February 7th, 2023 regular meeting. Any additions, corrections?
No.
Nope. Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve? Marcy moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Terrific. May I have a motion? Next item is to review and approve the minutes for the February 8th, 2023 regular meeting. Any changes, edits?
For the February 8th, we're in the February 8th one. I think we just have an address change under the public comments. I think it's instead of West Street, it's West Avenue.
Oh,
Okay. Good catch.
Very good.
I'm not Kip.
Oh, yeah.
All of the-
Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. Okay, any other edits? No? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Mike moves, Sarah seconds, all in favor? Terrific. Okay, next item on the agenda is to review and approve the 2023 minutes for January 30th, January 31st, and February 1st budget workshops. Any edits, changes? Nope. Seeing
Pretty
none?
simple.
Okay. May I motion to approve the minutes as presented? Sarah moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Terrific. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is agenda review. Mike?
When will we be due for our next update on Great Island?
Monday.
Okay.
Anything else? No? No? Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? Mike moves, John seconds, all in favor? Terrific. Okay.